to Tower Talk Live here on this fabulous Tuesday morning, afternoon. I don't know, time's a flat circle. I'm Allie Osborne here with the wonderful, the fabulous James Shibby. James, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing, Allie?
It's been a minute since we've checked in.
I know,
What have you
at
been up
least
to?
a week.
Yeah, exactly. What have you been up to in that time?
No, I mean, what have I been up to? Working.
Yeah.
Obviously. Getting up early. You got an early thing. I'm trying to think what we did over the weekend. I can't. It's all a blur.
Yeah.
I didn't go to the air show this year. This is my first year not going.
Really?
But I just wasn't available at the time that there was available time for like the tickets to go.
Right.
But we were at one of the parks in Hillsboro when the F-35s were flying over, so it almost felt like we were there. So it was kind of fun.
Heck yeah. I mean, the air show, of course, one of the big events in the Portland area. This year celebrating America's 250th birthday. We had a former Blue Angel pilot on the show talking about it, which was really cool. But speaking of things we've been doing in our free time, have you listened? And I know you have, because you suggest I say we get into it. You want to?
Why not? I mean, there's plenty. I mean, we have a guest today. I'm sure she will have something to say about it as well. Perhaps we bring it back. Right?
Shayla, you want to pull up that chair right now?
I mean,
why
not? There's no rules. It's television.
Y'all,
what are we doing?
We're going to get into it.
Put her in here.
We're tapping her in, Coach.
Tap in.
Jashayla Pettigrew joining us here at the table.
Let's do it. Her own chair.
I do it all. Here she comes. She truly does do it all. Shayla Pettigrew joining us now.
Right.
You know, we're just going to dive into it because we've been talking about it even leading up to the beginning of this show. And that is, of course, all of Drake's new releases. He released Iceman. It is leading the pack when it comes to the first week of sales projections right now. Habibti and Maid of Honor are also ranking very high right now on the charts. We've got kind of a breakdown now. Iceman, Habibti, and Maid of Honor. I think people, for most of what I know, people thought it was just going to be Iceman as the sole release, but these two kind of came as partners, let's say additions to this. Iceman is currently at 480,000 to 520,000 for first week sales, according to Kurko on Twitter. Now, this is unsurprising given the album's length, and its singles and leaks have been building anticipation for this. I mean, when it comes to on sports side of Twitter, everybody is using the hand.
Oh yeah, the Michael
album
Jackson
cover,
glove, right?
Michael Jackson glove,
Yeah,
the hand
the Jackson
cover,
glove.
For quite literally everything. I have seen every single sports team humanly possible come out of the water to be like, we made the Drake Iceman hand cover for
You may have
this
to check
post.
too. I feel like my wife showed me. I feel like the White House or someone
they
tweeted
did.
or
Yes, they
Instagrammed
did.
the glove.
Everybody, their dog, their cousin, everybody's been tweeting this cover, let me tell you. So for Habibti, that is the R&B centric version. It has 110,000 to 130,000 units in the first week. It's very much kind of an LP that avoids criticisms and beef kind of narratives. It taps into more of Drizzy's kind of melodic, a little more like Marvin's Room, if you will, a little more R&B, a little more lovelorn. And Maid of Honor has about 115 to 135 units sold, thousands. I'm saying 115,000 to 135,000. And that kind of has a little bit more pop and is a little bit more refreshing on that side. So Iceman is kind of the rap-centric. Then you have Habibti, which is the R&B. Then you have Maid of Honor, which is a little bit more of the pop. So let's dive into it. I will say, out of this group, I've heard, I would say the most snippets from Iceman, with Maid of Honor kind of being the least listened to album I've heard yet. So how do you guys feel about these?
I've listened to just the songs that have come across my desk, and by my desk I mean my TikTok. My thing with Drake, and in general, like a lot of artists now like do this thing where they release as much as they can at a time, and I'm just not a big fan of that. Like I feel like because there's 3 albums, there's like a lot to dissect, and you don't really give each album its own kind of moment. So yeah, I understand Drake is going to be Drake, but I feel like it would be easier to appreciate him in this new era if it wasn't him just like throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks,
I want to go back to what you said, which is kind of like Drake is going to be Drake. For all of us at this table, I think the first thing we've got to establish is what is our current view of Drake right now? What is our current perception?
That is a fascinating
I
question.
used to love Drake. I watched Degrassi as a kid, which maybe I shouldn't have been. But his
It's too late. Everyone knows now.
Sorry. But his character on the show, there was a part where like his character was rapping, and I was like, oh my gosh, he can rap too. This is so cool. So like, I was a really huge fan of him. I feel like post 2020 Drake, it's become a little bit corny for me. So that's why I'm like not as big of a fan these days. Yeah.
That's interesting. You talk about connections. I had a friend in New York when Drake was first coming out. You remember like the mixtape, like You're the Best I Ever Had, and all that stuff.
Baby,
She's
you're
like,
my everything.
yeah, I mean,
You
this is
all I ever
great.
wanted.
Yeah. And I remember she was like, hey, you should listen to this guy. He gives me these Houston vibes. And you come to find out like he got put on from like artists from Houston, and I can't think of the certain people's name, but he has a really strong tie to Houston hip hop. And I remember I was really a big fan of his too for a while, especially those first few albums, like the first few studio albums, right? Like, so a lot of hits, a lot of relation, a lot of just bangers, especially DJing, a lot of the stuff, but most of the great stuff, dancing songs from the early, 2010s and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I don't know, I must say perception is reality. And I must say Kendrick Lamar's a great artist as well, obviously, and he's released a lot of great music. And kind of that whole beef, that didn't do Drake any favors. I'm just gonna be honest with you on so many levels, because I used to listen to Drake's music and just have fun with it. But after you like dig deeper and you think of stuff, sometimes it just kind of changes your perception a bit. Not to say, but if music's good, it's good. Like, and on this album, there's a few songs, Ran to Atlanta. We'll get into a few of those. I think they're okay, but overall, like I said, you talk about the options being bloated. I used to say that, like if something gets bloated, you know what I mean? I know that's, we don't think of music, right?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You know what I mean? Like too much food in your stomach. I think it's too much.
Just somebody saying, hey, maybe we need to take this and this out. Maybe this is how we need to kind of filter it out. I like to think of Drake kind of in a similar way that I think of like Justin Bieber. Oh. Where they were really, really hot, like back in the 2010s. Super hot. You remember the songs that they have, and then there was kind of at around like, I would say like the 2018, 2019 years, both of them just kind of had headline after headline hitting. Drama after drama hitting. Everybody was really locked into it, whether it was Drake and what happened with Millie Bobby Brown, Drake and the beef with Kendrick coming up in like kind of the 2020s, things that you heard about him, things about Adonis, his son, what came out, everything, the drama with that, and then you think of like Justin Bieber, the Pusha T. Oh,
yeah, that's what we found out about Adonis, I want to say, right?
That Pusha T song was so good. That just transported me back. Anyway, but you also think of like Justin Bieber around that time, the Selena going back and forth, and then the Hailey Bieber, and then getting married and all that kind of stuff. And then you heard back and forth about that and everything he was going on in his personal career. So we heard a lot about these two artists and their personal careers I would say, took over the headlines. And then kind of petered out. You didn't really hear a lot about them after this. And I think that this is absolutely Drake's first kind of step out since the Kendrick diss. And I mean, I was just talking about this with cameraman and our wonderful videographer, Steven, who I will be tapping in at one point because he is a big Drake fan and he does have a lot to say about this.
Oh, he's a Drake fan.
Yes, and I do think that he should have the floor at some point. Well, I mean,
I'm just kidding. I used to like Drake too.
I was gonna say,
shots fired.
Yeah.
We're not.
Steven's my boy.
This is not a judgmental zone, and also I will protect Steven with my life. But I will say we were talking about it just like
there are some limits.
Hold on.
I mean, I love you, Steve, but I ain't jumping in front of traffic for you.
Okay. Yeah. But no, I mean, I think that like when it comes to the level of kind of public ridicule that Drake went through. I think it's a very like, it's an experience that I don't think many other people on this earth or in this lifetime have had. Where it has come to the point where you have someone, Kendrick, who is making accusations about you, making claims about you at one of the highest stages. He's literally looking
The Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Looking at the camera of the Super Bowl and saying, "Hey, Drake." And
I know.
you know what follows next because everybody knows what follows next on Not Like Us. But I mean, to have someone at that level make those accusations that were made, say those things about you, it's got to be something that is, number one, very hard to wrap your head around. Number two, very hard to come back from.
Yeah, I still think he has an amazing discography. I still
Yes, he
think
does.
he's always going to have a very loyal fan base. I think regardless of him losing that beef with Kendrick, he's still like an amazing artist. Not necessarily all eras, in my opinion, but I think in general he's released so much good music that you can't entirely take that away from him. But I do think the smartest thing to do after that was to release something more curated to remind everybody of why he became Drake in the first place. And I feel like if you're just releasing 100 songs at a time, like, here you go, I feel like you're not really reminding people of like why you were considered like one of the top, not just rap stars, but I feel like pop stars in general. That's where Drake was.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I think that that's an interesting point because when I think of Drake, I don't really think of like, when it comes to Iceman, a lot of the raps he's putting out are like beef addressers or like, hey, I'm calling this out. This is this dirty laundry. This is what I'm putting out. I'm trying to set the record straight. I don't ever think of him like that. When I think of his discography, I think of like music that you can bop to, like very melodic tones, and also like very R&B, kind of like Loverboy music, I would say.
Loverboy.
He
That's
gives
the
me
actual
Loverboy not as much like, I'm here to settle this beef, I'm here to settle that. And I wonder a little bit like, because I remember he came out originally with more R&B, and then once he joined the Young Money label, he kind of got a little bit of flavor of both. I wonder how much of that still sticks with him, you know?
Yeah, I think that's where he isolated some of his fans because at the beginning, I feel like a lot of rap music is misogynistic. Sometimes if the beat is good, I'm still listening, you know what I mean? But like a lot of it is misogynistic, and I feel like a part of why Drake became so popular is because women considered him to be a rapper who wasn't like disrespecting them in his songs.
He was making love songs.
Yeah, but I feel like the more fame he's gotten, the more relationships he's been in, he's on the track like subbing Rihanna, subbing Serena Williams and her husband. I'm like, Drake, this isn't you. Or is it? I don't know.
Yeah.
It could be.
It could be, yeah. And you talk about, and I go back to those rap beefs, because I really think that's kind of a flashpoint. And once again, you think about Drake's career, it spanned a long time for him to be the top artist. I remember a few years ago talking to a friend like, man, Drake's still making bangers. Normally hip hop artists or even musicians aren't at the top for that long. I mean, we're talking about like 10 plus years. But we talk about rap beefs, and some of the most famous ones I can think of through history is you got Tupac and Biggie. Yeah. That's probably like one of the most famous ones up until this one between Kendrick and Drake, and that was like personal, and honestly, that ended in like two people dying. And like that was like hardcore stuff. And then of course you have like Jay versus Nas, right? And that was classic. I think a lot of people believe Nas won that when he just listened to Ether and he just kind of lays it all out there. But then Jay-Z was able to rebound from it. But there was something to the core that Kendrick did. I can't explain it. It was like really attacking like some very deep stuff, and even when he talked about like the whole stuff about like the colonizing and the this, and this is like really deep stuff. And Kendrick Lamar, he's a poet, by the way. I remember I covered him. I had a hip hop. You remember I took a hip hop as poetry class at UCLA, and he was one of that. We were doing mostly like the golden age of hip hop, which is like mostly like late '80s, early '90s hip hop. But we also covered To Pimp a Butterfly, which was Kendrick Lamar's second album. And I mean, that was like not his most commercially successful album, but he had like some great music on there. And there's something about when you look at hip hop lyrics on page and you see them the way like poetry's written, you can really break it down. It's not just noise if people don't know about hip hop. And it's, you know, it's really, you got this guy that has all this, and I guess this animus towards Drake or what he represents, and it kind of puts it out there for the world to see. It's just fascinating. But what you said I thought was very big, because it's like, wow, we've never seen anyone have to do, because it's like psychologically, that's tough. Because sometimes, you know, people can take L's or someone speaks bad about you, but like for like the whole world to kind of like see that, what does that do to you
That
mentally?
is pretty intense.
You know, it's very intense to see how it comes with it. But I remember when what's that song, Nokia? Came out.
Nokia,
Remember? Now that was with Party Next Door. So that was a great song. Yeah. It was a banger.
And that was just last year.
And that was just
people
last
liked
year.
it. So,
You're right. But what was he doing? He was not talking about the beef. You like almost needs to like get away from that. There's you know, I know he wants to get stuff off his chest, but
for sure. I watched the Anthony Fantano, who's a music reviewer and YouTuber, who usually like breaks down albums like this. And one of the critiques that he had is he thought that Drake should have left the Kendrick beef where it was, taken that L, and then moved on to a new chapter. His argument, as he said in his YouTube video, you can find it on YouTube, was he said, you've lost, go back to what you're great at, which is, I feel like one of the points you were saying, Shayla, and just kind of go back to your roots, come back out with hits, and kind of get up, dust yourself off. You don't need to get back in the ring with Kendrick. There's no need. How do you guys feel about that take? Do you think that Drake should have come back and readdressed the Kendrick beef?
I think anyone has a right to defend himself, but I think his period to defend himself was last year when they were going back and forth with the tracks. You already did that. Point. You already got swept, you know. So I just feel like that reviewer was saying, like, go back to what people love you for, and I feel like you should let the music do the talking for itself. The issue is the quantity over the quality of the music I think he is using to do the talking for him.
Yeah. Yeah. Because maybe with that 3 album, what if you combine the best songs from there and put on a really great album?
To me, it thinks like, you know when you have an argument with somebody and then you're in the shower and you're like,
and another thing.
And another thing.
Yeah, you have all the best rebuttals in your shower that night.
You're yelling at the Dove shampoo like, and I said this. And a part of me thinks that maybe this album might be a tad bit of that. We also know that Drake's current contract with Universal Music Group has kind of been in flux here and there, and a part of it is because of the Kendrick beef. Because
this is part of the lawsuit, too,
it's
right?
Because it is part of the lawsuit, and we do have an article on that too that dives into this that I think gives a little more context. So Drake did not just diss his many rap foes on his new album Iceman, he also seemed to take aim at the music industry as a whole, specifically UMG. Now he had shades in his songs towards CEO Lucien Grange, and other business dealings amped up the conversation around his 3 new albums, as various reports and fan theories suggest that UMG has fulfilled the record label contract with Drake. They have both fulfilled it. So there is rumors and fan theories out there that right now, with these final 3 albums and the amount of songs, that fills the contract per se. However, many fans and media outlets discussed these theories in initial reports. Others started to ask questions to clarify a little bit more. Joe Coscarelli of the New York Times recently spoke with the Six Gods trilogy and John Caramanchia in a podcast show. Coscarelli said he made some calls over the weekend, talked to people on both sides. It turns out no one can really know for sure yet until either the Toronto superstar or his team or somebody from UMG confirms that they are not in motion. So what it says, quote, the answers that I'm getting are, it's complicated. The lawsuit is ongoing. Nothing is definitive. It's not Drake is 100% free. It's a very fluid situation. These contracts probably have a lot of clauses about what happens even after this deal is fulfilled, because they are in active litigation and there's an appeal that could happen that's probably going to have some say on how this all goes. So it's kind of interesting too that all 3 of these albums were kind of like almost like a photo dump Instagram thing where it was like all plopped onto the internet. How, like, with this kind of situation with labels, we've heard a lot of comments, especially from musicians lately, about this. when listening to some of Drake's new tracks on Iceman, Habibti, and Maid of Honor. Sorry, I forgot the last one real quick.
Hey.
What did you guys pick up on any of that beef between him and UMG at all, or?
Yeah, I read some of the lyrics, and I feel like we have seen a bunch of stories about like musicians feeling like the industry is like predatory in the way like it owns people's music. You know, Taylor Swift had to buy her stuff back.
Right.
I think Justin Bieber was in a similar situation.
He just sold
The
his
artist
catalog,
formerly
yeah.
known as Prince. I don't know if you
Yeah.
remember, he changed
Yeah.
his name for specific reasons so he could get outside of a record deal.
Yeah, so I feel like especially with someone at Drake's level, maybe he's reached a point where he's like, you know what, I'm so rich and famous, I'm gonna have fans regardless of who I release music with. I wanna do my own thing. I don't wanna be like under your control anymore. It's
Yeah.
not that surprising at this point in his career, I don't think.
The music industry's changed so much anyway. You've seen people become famous and sell lots of albums without a record deal.
And they're
Chapel
independent.
Roan.
Yeah, they're independent artists. So, I mean, at this
Yeah.
point, I don't even know if you always need it, but he's so used to having that machine behind
Yeah.
him. So there's other record labels as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that
yeah.
during the whole Kendrick Drake beef, there was accusations from Drake's camp that maybe UMG had provided some information allegedly to Kendrick. So I know that that was a part of the lawsuit as well. It seems like.
Oh, and also another big thing is, I don't know if maybe you mentioned, but Drake and Kendrick are under the same record
Yes.
label. Is that correct?
Yes.
I think that's where a lot of this comes from.
Allegedly, one of the
Right?
things in the lawsuit allegedly is because they are under the same record label. Maybe allegedly UMG may have allegedly given Kendrick some information.
Information
Is what
or
they
help
are alleging in the
or
lawsuit.
help pump the music out for the masses to kind of get into. You know what I mean? Even though Drake's like one of their top selling artists, which makes it kind of a weird, I don't know, I'm gonna say accusation or a weird action if it is possible. This is all allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah, all allegedly.
And in the
Yes.
lower third, allegedly,
Allegedly.
in all caps.
Capital.
But it's quite interesting that Drake kind of did that. And I also think that the mass release is kind of his way of being like, here you can have the acknowledgement to the beef, you can have what I'm originally known for, you can have kind of the poppy stuff too. So I wonder if this kind of mass release is to try to get out of the UMG contract, potentially, maybe, but we won't know until we hear anything more. And real quick, before I bring on our special guest, Drake analyst, which is his title for this episode, our fabulous Steven. Is there any closing thoughts, or let's say additional thoughts that the both of you have about this trio of releases from Drizzy himself?
He better not release nothing else for another year. That's how I feel after that. But
Okay.
live your life, Drake.
Yeah, look, I listened to a few of the songs. Like I said, I was a Drake fan at one point. I'm not ashamed to say it. I mean, he's not that badly, but yeah, I mean, I saw a few songs. Like I said, Ran to Atlanta, that beat stuck out to me. That was a good song. There was another one on Iceman. I can't remember the name of it. But also, too, I will just say this, and Steven, he'll come on and talk about it. You can't stay on top forever.
Right.
You just can't. So, you know, even without this beef, maybe he could come out with new albums. But at a certain point, it's just the way art works. You just don't stay on top forever. It's just not how it
That's
works.
just life.
Right.
It's just life. And in your best lyrics, some of people's best work is early on in their career because that's when they're hungriest. And there's kind of this phrase, and it's a boxing phrase, but this I can't remember his name. He fought during the time of Sugar Ray Leonard. Marvin Hagler, that's what he say. He's like, it's hard to train for a fight when you're sleeping on silk sheets.
Right.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's just kind of the thing. It just happens. It's a natural progression.
That's why I compare
know?
him to Justin Bieber, because we've seen like Justin Bieber had a similar thing where he released a bunch of songs on Swag 1 and Swag 2. And that also felt like there needed to be somebody there to be like, hey man, let's maybe
Dial it
filter
back
it
a
a
little
little.
bit.
Yeah.
Let's maybe take a couple of these out of here. So, and also it is kind of that hope to be on top forever that I think both of these stars who both became famous at similar times are also kind of seeing the winding down of their career at the same time.
And the way it may be winding down.
Right,
the
and the way it may be
psychological
winding
aspect. Because a
down.
lot of people don't bring that. I think that's very interesting you to bring that up. Because a lot of people may not think about it. But like if you're in the mental health and stuff like that, that is very. I mean, I would not want to have to deal with that. That takes a very
Hard
strong
to
individual. Probably a lot of therapy, maybe. I know that may sound corny to people, but
can you imagine? Like, I mean.
Yeah.
Just for a little bit, imagine that somebody that you're in a fight with makes a song that says something about you, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent. There's no evidence pointing towards some of these claims that Kendrick has made towards Drake. But can you imagine somebody makes a song about you? The entire world loves that song so much. You are driving around, you are going to Trader Joe's on a Wednesday. You hear that song playing up and down.
If they played it in Trader Joe's.
I'm having nightmares about that song.
You are haunted by
brutal.
a song putting accusations on you. Again, right, wrong, or indifferent. We don't know if they're true or not. There's nothing concrete there. But you're hearing accusations about the worst, allegedly, things in your life, following you around everywhere else. And by the way, you go on to watch the Super Bowl.
And everyone,
and
then
on,
of the
and
videos, the Kendrick dance that everyone was commenting,
it goes viral
right?
on social media. People are tagging you in everything.
Nasty.
People are going, girl, I hate you because of what was put in this song. People are making T-shirts about it.
My son we listen to Not Like Us and TVR. I mean the non-explicit versions,
Yeah.
but we listen to that all the time in the car. Right. He knows the lyrics to those songs.
Can you imagine?
And he's 4.
Can you imagine somebody makes a song about you?
Yeah.
And there's little 4-year-olds that know the diss song about you.
Yeah.
That's got to be mentally
Sickening.
It's crazy.
Something else. So,
Well,
we've been teasing it enough.
Someone needs to come out because now this is the prosecution. Now the defense needs to come.
Coming to the stage. I am. This is my mic.
He's gonna finally make his debut.
Mic.
Can we give Steven like a handheld mic?
Well, we can also let him borrow.
Yeah. I think he needs a handheld mic or something.
We can also let him borrow this mic as well. We're gathering a handheld. We're gathering a handheld.
Written a diss track.
I know.
Also,
now, this is the problem.
I love the bottom. Our fabulous Lower Thirds creator, producer Grayson. Beep boop bop, get a hobby.
Steve, just remember, this is television. We're live right now.
Our wonderful videographer, Steve.
We have to make sure to behave properly here.
Yes, absolutely.
My man.
This is now.
My man, Steve.
I would love that. Like the rest of this episode is just. I would love if the rest of this episode is just us bringing out different people from Coin, and eventually we have 8 people at the table.
That lets you know how big of a flashpoint culturally Drake is in society. So
now, Steven.
Yes. And I'm not here to just glaze. I'm not just a glazer.
No glazing.
No. So first off, I want to establish how long have you been a fan of Drake? And by the way,
he's a day one fan. Day one.
It's been so long, actually. It's been over half my life.
Okay.
In fact, okay. So
when were you first introduced to him?
Yeah, man, probably around like I was 13, 14. You know, those are Heartbreak Drake.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Back then, Room for Improvement, all these early Drake songs. So, yeah, best I ever had, like you said. You know, stuff like that. So yeah, no, it goes way back.
So we were talking off camera before the show.
I heard it.
About the Drake and Kendrick beef.
That's facts.
Now, going out of the Drake and Kendrick beef, what did you wish Drake could have done? What do you wish he could have done differently when it comes to that beef? Because I think the overall consensus from everyone, even Drake fans, is that he took that L on that one.
Mistakes were made.
Yeah.
Mistakes were made for sure. I also will say that I think he wasn't ready. That's what it comes down to. He wasn't ready. Kendrick was ready. Kendrick knew what he was doing. When he did the song with Future, he knew this is about to go this way. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this. I think Drake was more so like, what? They're saying this about me? I know how to do this. I'll just rap. But he didn't have a plan. You know, he never had a plan.
As soon as Kendrick said, it's just Big Me, he knew.
Oh, yeah. He knew. That was the beginning. Yeah.
He knew what was going on.
That's a great song, too.
Yeah.
It was a great song.
Yeah.
But
1000%.
going into Iceman,
Yep.
How many times have you listened to Iceman in general? Just the first debut.
So far, I probably played I mean, I haven't listened. Listened through the whole album once, but I play songs a lot. Like I said, I'm a Drake fan. Love Drake. I think this is arguably his best album.
What?
How so?
And let me explain why.
Please.
All right. So, first of all, I love an underdog. Somehow Drake found himself in an underdog position.
That's very true.
I love someone who needs redemption. I love it. I love it. Even Wemby right now. I love what Wemby's doing.
A good storyline, you know?
Good storyline.
I love it. I love
Which we
it.
can get into
Wemby's
later.
about to be an overdog.
Right.
Saw the way he played
Overdog.
yesterday.
But
22 years old, crazy.
He lost the under 19 to Chet.
Okay, that's
And
what I
so-
know. They kept showing footage from that, which
and
I
so
didn't
it's
know.
like
This is
my
some
turn to come
sweet
get him.
revenge, yeah.
Like I love that. So I think that a lot of so let me start by saying I understand why some people are like, I don't want to hear about this beef no more. I don't want to hear you rapping about 2 years ago you took the L, move on.
Yeah.
But if I put myself in his shoes, brother, I got to get my lick. I got to.
I have to fight back.
You have to fight back.
And this is my album. Like, no, I gotta set the record straight.
It
Like,
does go back to like the Trader Joe's. That's all you're hearing as you're driving up and down.
Exactly.
Everybody
Yeah,
bumping this
outside
song.
and inside the
Yeah,
store.
it's gotta weigh on a person. It's because like the whole world has moved on because of trend culture.
Totally.
It just goes this. He's been stewing there,
He has.
knowing that this song has been out.
Marinating.
Marinating.
But
But
Right.
here's the
hearing
thing,
about the
right?
Super Bowl.
Yeah, but the thing is too, though, because Kendrick, because like I said, this is a true lyricist. I'm not saying Drake isn't, but you know, it's you got this true lyricist that comes out with this deep stuff, and even you do some research, you're talking about like, well, also where both of these guys come from.
Totally.
You know what I mean? Kendrick grew up, you know, in a different type of life setting.
Totally.
So he comes from something like very like, I don't want to say urban, but like from like, you know, Drake.
Compton.
Yeah, he came from Compton. It's very different than Toronto. I'm assuming Toronto's a lovely city. That's what I hear. Maybe it has some slums too. I don't think Drake grew up in the slums there.
Right,
So
yeah,
not
yeah.
to say you can't have great hip hop from that, but it's
Totally.
all that stuff. And then you have Kendrick come out with this. And the thing is too, well, if you're gonna fight back, let's say you're having a rematch with the guy that just pummeled you,
Yeah.
right? If you're
Yeah.
gonna get back in the ring with Tyson,
Yeah.
you need to come with more than just a 1-2. You better throw the kitchen sink.
Right.
And did Drake do that? I'm not so sure. Yes?
I think Drake tried. I think even now, like, did you guys listen to Family Matters?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, it's kind of, yeah. I mean, there's so many things. Yeah, there's all those different beef songs coming out at the
When
same
Family
time.
Matters came out, I
Yeah.
thought it was done. I thought,
Right.
okay, that's your knockout punch. It's over.
Of
He
course.
did it again.
I know.
And
Family
then
Matters
less-
was a great song, too.
Right.
Seemed very personal. You remember that
They're
song?
all very, very.
Yeah, they're all
Oh, yeah.
personal,
And in
right?
less than
yeah.
like 24 hours, maybe even 10 hours, 12 hours, Not Like Us came out. And it was like, all
Yeah.
right, all
That
right.
was
The
the
nuclear
gotta put
bomb.
your
That
hands
was
up.
stepping on someone
Exactly.
while they're like
And it's
down
like,
for the count.
man, like I thought you had it, bro. Like I thought you had it and you did not have it. And then there's no comeback to that. Like when someone makes a hit that's also a diss, you can't beat that. You can't beat it.
Also, like, we were kind of spoiled in that kind of period because not only did you have, like, the Megan Nicki beef, this
Oh,
came out
gosh.
directly after, and it was like, oh, we're eating good.
Right.
On, like, on good content, on good drama. But
Totally.
the other two albums, Maid of Honor and Habibti, what were your opinions on those two? Do you think that kind of our conjectures, as a Drake fan, do you think our conjectures of maybe this filling a quota,
Totally.
do you think that that could be where that's going? What is your opinions
Yeah.
on kind of the breadth of the release, how much there was?
Totally. So I'm with you. I listened to the podcast interview too that you referenced earlier, and I think that for one, it was to get out the deal for sure. I think it also was a little bit of let me feed my fans. Like you want R&B. We've always talked about what would an R&B Drake album sound like. I don't think this was the best product that he could put out, but I think it could be like this is kind of what that would sound like. Maid of Honor, I think, was more like he's a global artist. I think that was more of a global music kind of thing. I
Yeah.
don't really like it, to be honest. It's not my thing.
You're hoping for H&M's to be bumping it everywhere.
Exactly. I
Yes.
think, I
Coming
think,
to a Gap near you.
That one
exactly.
gave more of a pre-summer album. Like y'all are
Right.
about to be out at the pool parties, at the
Right,
brunches.
right.
Let me
Yeah.
give you all this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What, isn't
Yeah.
Sexy Red doing like a cha-cha slide for like
Oh,
the
yes.
night? Like,
Yes.
what are we doing?
Nice.
But like also, who has done that? You know what I mean? Like no one's thought about that. Like, go Sexy Red.
I mean,
Yeah,
Good for you.
it's good.
I mean, look, I do turn up to a couple Sexy Red songs here and there. I'm not gonna lie. She does hit here and there. But I will say, like, and I was thinking of any of the songs I could say of hers, and I'm like, nope, can't say that title, can't say that title, can't do that one, can't say that one. Anyway, your overall view of Drake now that these three albums, these three pieces of work have been out, what is kind of your perspective looking back on this? Do you think that this was the right move for him to do when it comes to addressing everything? Do you think the three was good? Would you have kind of, if you were Drake's right-hand man, would you be like, hey man, we need to eliminate some of this? Like,
Testify.
To be honest,
say will be held. What is I forgot?
Held in a court of law.
Yeah. This is all,
honestly, as a Drake fan,
Yeah.
and an overall hip hop fan, and an overall music fan, you were bringing up Prince, Michael Jackson. These are all people. Even Taylor Swift. I think you brought up Taylor Swift. These are all people that were fighting the machine within the machine. I think this is his fight. I think it's bigger. Even in the lyrics, he says it's bigger than me beefing with a rapper. Like, I'm trying to take down the man. Even also, another song is Bees on the Table. He's talking about there's billions on the table because his next deal is going to be worth probably $1 billion.
What?
Which,
really?
Yes, which no artist has done yet.
How?
His last deal, I want to say, was $500 million
Really?
with Lucien Grange.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
So that being said, I'm more so like, brother, I'm a little scared for you. A little bit. Only because, like...
Oh, you mean because of, if we, now we're getting, not conspiracy territory, but what happens to people when they become too bigly?
well,
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
Because that's a lot of money.
Isn't that why kind of Drake is the subject of so much beef anyways in the first place? Because everybody wants to take down the top dog?
A lot of people felt like he kind of messed up the share because he was taking so much of the money. People think there's only so much money in music. So if you got to pay Taylor Swift this, if you got to pay Drake this, you got to pay Beyonce this, what about the little guy who's not like little, but like, even if you look at touring right now with the whole thing that's going on with
People are like canceling stuff left and right. It's crazy.
And it's only really the big artists whose tours are still surviving. Because
So
there's only
is
so much
there
money.
an issue with touring? Because I know the big thing is now, I mean, albums, they come out, there's only so much money albums make now because of streaming or YouTube, not like people going to record stores, stuff like that. So you're saying even there's issues with money and touring? That was kind of like the last bastion. Go on tour, you make your money.
A lot of people in this industry say, like, if you don't make the profit doing this or that, like the concert tickets, the merch that you sell at the merch booth, at the venues, that's how you make money. But even now, people are like, we have 2 quarters to rub together. I don't know if we could do that either.
Exactly, because nobody's got any money anymore. And
fascinating.
one of the things with concert tickets is I've noticed, like, as soon as something drops, you've got to get it, or it's all going on resale for so much more, and then nobody's able to afford it. I mean, like, I got floor tickets for the Gorillaz in October. My favorite band. I love them so much. Mwah. But the thing is I saw those tickets go up on resale for like, I bought mine for like $250. They're on resale for like $500 a piece.
Oh, wow.
Who's affording that anymore? So that's
Doubling up.
right. So I can see where that's like a thing, and I can see where that could create some friction. Especially with bigger artists like Drake.
Yeah, so he's faced a lot of animosity with that.
Yeah.
And now it's like, not only do you have your artist friends not really backing
They're not caping up for you.
Which is the funny part, because even if you look at like the streams that people like Molly Santana are getting now because of being on that album, like they literally call it a Drake stimulus package.
Oh yeah, no,
Like,
big time.
so
it happens all the time for these artists to get featured in this stuff. And they do great work on there.
Exactly. Even going back to Versace with Migos. So it's like he's put on so many artists, but then some of those same people he put on, Kendrick Lamar on Take Care, come around and then they don't like
I know
it, so.
what they were afraid. That's how much they didn't want to be part of Kendrick Lamar's history making stuff. You remember J. Cole tapping out, right?
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
He tapped out so early, and I think he even apologized.
He did.
I don't want the smoke.
I don't want nothing to do. And
delete
this was
later,
before.
and he's like, I'm out.
This is before, like not like us and all that.
I think he
right?
made the best decision for
He
himself.
sure did.
Yeah,
You
I
know-
think it was his good. It was
Yeah,
a good
that was a
decision for him.
smart. That was a business decision.
Yeah.
on
J. Cole
Cole's part.
said, I'm making an executive decision, and I'm going to go play play international basketball.
Right, exactly. I'm not even going to be in this country.
Ball is life now.
Right.
Sorry.
Exactly,
Right?
exactly.
What if I was wondering, because Drake also too, he releases all this music, but we rarely hear him in interviews and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think for him to get in people's graces too, he needs to kind of just let us know. Like he's always spilling his stuff out and in his music. He needs to go on like some podcast or something. Like what if he went on Joe Rogan or something like that? And
I think he likes streamers, and I don't know if the streamers are the ones who are going to help him get back in everyone's good graces.
You don't think so? Not even,
No.
right? Yeah.
He needs to go on Michelle Obama's podcast.
That's right.
He needs to go in the more corporate one right now.
The
You're
more
like-
corporate one?
But
Well, didn't
I don't
Kendrick
know.
talk about him on Oprah? I don't know if I always forget. There's a lyric about him going on Oprah or something.
Kendrick and
Did I
Oprah.
mishear that?
I don't know,
Okay,
but yeah, I would've been
maybe I
shocked.
misheard
We
it.
we got to call in our fact checkers.
Yeah.
Our fact checkers in New York. But anyway, that was a joke for sports fans. But anyway, for anyone who was tuning in for that. But no, I mean, I find it quite interesting. Just like in general, he's dropped this much. What is kind of the next steps? Of course, Shayla, you said earlier, you were like, go take a vacation, go to Fiji, get out of there.
Turks and Caicos. I heard he likes Turks. Go there for a little bit.
Right, head over there. Do you think that he should be on a podcast talking as a Drake fan?
I will say, so I can't remember what year it was. At this point, it's probably like 8 years ago or so. He did the Rap Radar podcast, and he sat down and talked for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and I loved it as a fan. I think we kind of do need that.
I think so.
I don't think he will. Instead, I think he's going to tour. He's going to do an Iceman tour. I think it's going to be crazy. And I think, honestly, if we don't get an album before the year's over, we're going to get another album next year.
Okay.
Again.
Yes.
No, I'm sure.
I
Possibly.
think so, yeah.
Go on Rogan.
Yeah.
I'm trying to tell you, Joe. Okay, my dad's stuff.
I was like, is Joe slipping you
Go
some
on
ones under
Rogan
the table?
or
What's
guest star in
happening?
the next Yellowstone. Then I'll watch it. If he's like on a Taylor Sheridan show, I'll watch it.
We'll see.
He did that comedy.
not.
He did that comedy show in Toronto. I don't know if you guys saw
What?
like the comedy that he did. He's on a show in Toronto.
Oh,
where-
really?
Did you guys not see this?
There's like two brothers who
Yeah,
have
yeah,
that like
exactly.
comedy show on Prime or something.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
that was funny. That was
Right,
funny.
right.
So he
that's
needs
what
to do stuff like
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Makes sense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Get out of
Outside
just-
of actual music.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because when
that's
you
what I
get
would love.
humanized in other essences, like it just gives a different feel for you, and people can kind of get
and
over
he's
that.
getting
I think
older.
that would be good.
So I think that's also part of like the
Yeah.
misogyny, and it's like rap is that. So it's hard to like get out of doing that
Of
for
course.
certain artists at the highest level. Like you have, I mean, like a No Name who would never go there and talk about certain things, but like the people who are the biggest, they're gonna make that commercial music where it's all bees and you know what I mean. Like
They don't
that's-
care. They're like, I'm
Exactly.
untouchable.
Right. Exactly. And
Yeah.
like. I think he, in order to get, like, Jay-Z kind of elevated and got away from talking about stuff like that. He started talking about deeper things, 444,
Of
getting
course.
introspective. I think Drake needs to hit that next level, too. I just think it's going to take a little time, and he should focus on doing things other than music. But I think he needed to get this off his chest first.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. A new start for Drake, and fingers crossed, the Iceman tour, if it does happen, it comes through Portland because, look,
They're gonna skip us and go to Seattle.
Most
In
likely.
Seattle.
girl,
He's selling out stadiums.
Yeah.
please.
Maybe. Still, I don't know.
Am I able to, please?
I don't know, yeah.
Pretty
maybe.
please? Maybe.
Young Boy came here, so maybe.
Doja Cat's coming here
Oh,
Doja Cat.
Doja.
in September.
maybe.
So, hey, we're not totally chopped liver.
Right.
No, we're not chopped liver. We're not chopped.
Any
right?
final
Chopped.
arguments?
No, I did not
Chop
come here to
down.
glaze Drake, so I hope I'm just not a Drake glazer on this show, but
No, you were a
dude.
great Drake
No,
analyst.
dude.
I
No,
think that
you
was
were.
good.
That was
Thank you.
nice.
Great.
And this was good.
yeah.
Yeah, I really appreciate
Steven,
that.
thank you very, very
Yeah.
much. You know, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about a whole other topic. I promise y'all we were not going to talk about Drake the whole time, but we had to get this off our chest because this is like the biggest thing happening in pop culture right now. So it's just something to chat. It's the big thing to chat about. So, Steven, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
My man.
Thank you for having me.
My
Absolutely.
man.
Yeah.
We'll be
All
back in just a second after this. Welcome back. Now, folks, we are still talking about Drake. But we must move on for the sake of conversation and
for Grace and sanity.
And for Grace and producer
Yes.
Grace and sanity.
Yeah.
Yes, my darling, we have seen the lower thirds. We are moving on. We love you. But I must ask the two of you before we dive into our next headline. Do you have a favorite sports? I was going to say college. I'm just going to leave it to sports. Do you have a favorite sports team mascot?
Oh.
And if so, who is it?
Favorite sports team mascot? I mean, maybe this is a cop-out, but the new, like, Cherry Bombs mascot is cute.
Yes,
I love her little
She's very
fishnets
cute.
and her little mini skirt. Yeah.
Her and Saucy T were here for
Yes.
AMX.
Saucy T is a no.
Oh, you were. Oh, yeah, you were here
Saucy
taking
T.
photos.
Saucy, you don't.
That was quite a
You're not included in that.
Oh, he's not, right?
But the
Don't.
Cherry Bomb, yes.
He said, that was a step too far. Not Saucy T. Poor Saucy T.
Well,
There's a person in that costume.
No disrespect to the person
acknowledge
inside.
the humanity of the giant Sashas, darn it. But no, I mean, they did come through. I will say,
Yeah.
Mary T. Cherry, I know you stole stuff from my closet, and I will find a way to prove that very soon. Because she came up and I was like,
Where do you shop?
That's like something I would wear. Yeah.
I was like, I'm looking in a mirror right now, and the other side of the mirror has a cherry for a head. But no, Saucy T. Sausage, I do. I love him. Look, we're cool. When I see Saucy, I'm like, we're good. We're cool.
I like
If
Dylan
he
the Pickle.
shows up as a paralysis demon for me,
Absolutely not.
he
My gosh.
he's tall. Like, for y'all that don't know, he like walks in and almost like hits the lights. Like, it's at that level. But okay, around this time of year, going into the spring and the summer is usually around the time that a lot of colleges have graduation. And around this time is when you see a lot of reveals of who has been playing the mascot.
Yeah.
So recently there's been several videos released. Some of the more famous ones are, there was a Mike the Tiger reveal for LSU that is going viral. Every year when I went to the University of Oregon, when it came to the graduation procession, whoever played the duck or was friends with the duck that year would wear the duck feet as they walked under their graduation
nice.
robes. So you would
Yeah.
know, hey, maybe that person may or may not be friends with the duck. You have to say friends with the duck.
Yeah.
You can't say that they were, unfortunately. But there is one headline that's going on around the Indiana Hoosier. Now, for some background, the Indiana Hoosier, who is this buffalo bison-looking individual, he was originally actually introduced this past season for the first time in over several decades.
Oh, wow.
So he had been a lost mascot. The Hoosiers didn't have a mascot until recently. And one of the talented students playing the mascot recently revealed themselves. Abby Armstrong is the first student to portray the university's returning mascot since the 1970s. Now, she's a former Bloomington North track and cross country standout. She called the opportunity a dream come true in an interview posted by IU Athletics following the reveal. Quote, being one of the first people to be able to portray the character of Hoosier the Bison was truly a dream come true and such an honor. Now, they brought back the Bison after the Bring Back the Bison Act was passed by Indiana University Student Body Congress on December 16th, 2024. IU Athletics then moved forward with reintroducing the mascot as a symbol of school spirit, tradition, and unity. One of the things that has gone viral since Abby has revealed herself to be a mascot, and also one of the trends that has been happening with all the mascot reveals, is that a majority of the folks playing the mascots that have gone viral for revealing themselves have been women.
Oh.
Which, first off, reactions. Would you, when you see a college mascot, would you think that there's a girl behind the fuzzy face?
Maybe not. This is like a weird side story. I worked at a frozen yogurt shop in high school.
Menchie's?
Yes.
Yes.
Are you a witch? Why did you just ask me that? Did I tell you this already?
No,
Well, is that the? I mean, I don't know.
I just know
It's
my
just-
mascots, and I know Menchie's has
She
a
grew
cute
up in the
one.
suburbs.
so
we are. There's
In the
Menchies everywhere in the
burbs, we know the Menchies.
So the
Yeah.
Menchie costume, right? You're supposed to be like 5'8" to be in this costume. Everybody that I worked with was like 5'3" on a good day. I'm 5'10", so they had me do it. And because I was 5'10", I had to hold it up a little bit. But I feel like maybe I would assume, not gender necessarily, but I would just assume it's a taller person. And because men are taller on average, maybe I would like go to men for that reason. But I don't know.
That's interesting. Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, I would just think. Yeah, I would just think that mostly men would just get in costumes like that. But you know, I think that's cool actually. That there's a lot of women behind those costumes, and you know, there's also like. I think it's like a physical feat to like be in those costumes. I'm assuming like the heat, you see them, they run or walk around like normally. Like I assume it's not
It gets
easy
warm in there.
to be in there. You gotta have some kind of fitness, you know, to do all that.
You do, and so I'm gonna give y'all a little bit of insight to how the University of Oregon does this. And before I say anything, if there are any University of Oregon people, don't come for me. If I've got the bomb implanted in my neck, don't put it on, because I am going to say a couple things. But the duck, how that is recruited, is they go through cheer tryouts.
Oh.
Benny the Beaver, which by the way, the Benny and Bernice slots are open for tryout now, so you can try out for both of them as well. Those also go through cheer. They both go through cheer.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so
I can see that.
They go through the cheer teams, and you have to try out with them specifically for the mascot. For Benny, there is an application process. For the duck, I'm not quite sure exactly the steps going to it, but I will also say when it comes to the physical demands, I have met many people who have been friends with the duck, and it is a certain amount of time you can be in there before you get heat stroke.
Oh, really? I can see that.
That makes sense.
Yep, so there are fans in there, but there is only a certain amount of time, which is when you
Safely,
see them on the field or on the court, they do leave, and that is typically to swap out because there are multiple costumes.
Interesting. Okay, that makes sense.
It's quite interesting,
Yeah.
and I had a really good friend who may or may not have, he was Benny the Beaver for several years. And what was interesting is that, number one, not only is there a national mascot group chat where all of the college mascots are all in like a Discord where they talk back and forth, which I think is very funny. But there are actually, it is kind of 50-50 when it comes to women and men.
That's fascinating.
It is very down the middle. So could be a man, could be a woman. Kind of up in the air.
You see, it's also a big culture to it. I feel, I don't know if it was last year when we would speak or when Tower Talk was first on, but Ali had mentioned something about like knowing people in other parts of the world. Was it Japan? Some other countries.
That's the same guy I was mentioning.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
He went on to be a mascot for the Japanese professional baseball.
Yeah, and it's like really big over there and like very revered. And, and
so
not
it's
easy to get in there. You can make like a pretty decent living, you know, doing it and have a lot of fame in a sense.
It's men and women, and what I've noticed is kind of the most interesting is that usually the mascots where it's your face, where it's a person, let's say the Trojan, Tommy Trojan, whether you're the Leprechaun for Notre Dame or the Mountaineer for West Virginia, that's mostly men. So interesting things to think about.
Fact of the day.
Interesting things to think about. But
we're going to talk about Drake again.
we're bringing Russian Drake back on the show. Well, it's just an interesting thing to think about when it comes to mascot reveals and things that you see trending online. And speaking of trending online, we only have a couple minutes left, but we got this article here. And y'all know, Spirit is no longer with us. The airline, at least. They permanently shut down on Saturday after 34 years after a surge in fuel prices that impacted restructuring efforts. Now a group on social media want to buy the planes. Because guess what? Planes are on the tarmacs. So they're available for purchase, just like the furniture from the NFL draft this year. It is available for purchase if you can find it. Now, basically, from what I've been seeing, from what I'm seeing on how much these planes are, if our producer Grayson would like to look up how much they are. However, in a site crash, the Let's Buy Spirit site, 124,000 people have raised $88 million pledged to buy the planes for Spirit Airlines so far. Reactions. I think that this is a crazy stretch to like try to buy Spirit Airlines, but
88 million.
So is that their intent? Like they want to help the airline come back, or do they all just want a bunch of planes? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like what's
or
their
like start
intent?
their own version of Spirit Airlines?
Their intent, the original poster, Hunter Peterson, said that more than 250 million individuals over the age of 18 in the U.S., and if just 20% of that population contributed $30 to $40, the average cost of a Spirit Airlines ticket, they would be able to buy the airline to nationalize it and be owned by the people.
Oh.
That's fascinating.
That I'm with a little bit more. I thought this was just a bunch of like non-flying people like, let me buy a plane. And I'm like, I don't know if that's smart. But if they want to bring the airline back and hire a bunch of smart people, then I think, hey, that's fine. Because I know flight prices are crazy now. So people probably miss Spirit.
I mean, I miss those cardboard feeling seats so much at Spirit. That was one of my favorites, but because it was cheap. And real quick, Grayson, could you tell me how much that was again for a plane? We're gonna see in just a second.
Yeah, does 88
how
million
much?
cover at least
Wait,
one
what's your
plane?
guess on how much a single Spirit Airlines plane is?
Oh my God, I'm not good with prices.
Yeah. 40 million.
15 to 25 million.
Oh.
Oh.
Yes.
That's
I got that.
Right.
Yeah,
So
no, but
these
15 to
Let's Buy-
25, that can.
These Let's Buy Spirit Airline people, they might be on something. So something to keep an eye on. Thank you guys so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Drake and Spirit and mascots.
Drake, Spirit, mascots. We learned a lot today, people. What? I don't know, but you were there for all of it. Thank you so much, James, for co-hosting with me. As
Yes.
always, it's always
Always a
fabulous to have
pleasure.
you here. Shayla, you know the door is revolving. You could come in as many times as you would like.
I'm gonna break it
It's
down.
lovely to have you. This is it for Tower Talk Live. We will see you tomorrow for another episode of this wild, weird, and zany show. Coin 6 News at noon is up next with Todd Unger, so please do tune into that. We will see you another time. Bye-bye.
Ka-chow.